Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 19th of March, 2021. Coming up, the Crusty Canuck podcast. The Foolery Continues. More Trudeau faux pas, Harjit Sajjan faux pas, and more taxes on the way. Stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
Mama always said I had a face for radio.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Crusty Canuck podcast. I'm your host, Crusty, and thank you once again to everyone who turned out to my last live stream yesterday, the Thursday Fastball with Crusty Canuck. My special guests were Tiffany and Tammy, two freedom fighters, vocal activists against the whole mask mandate and standing up for Canadian democracy as we see it. So thank you again, ladies, for such a wonderful interview and a great turnout from all the fans and listeners out there. And as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, listener discretion is advised. I tend to use some big, nasty words, so be careful what you hear. And if you like and hear what you see, by all means, please click like and subscribe and all that good stuff on the YouTube page. And share this stuff around. Keep the algorithm going. Let us independent, vocalist-minded patriots get our words out there. So please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing today. So carrying on, as I said, the whole foolery continues. Yes, in today's government, Mr. Trudeau was up there in CPAC, and I'll leave a link in the description for you to follow on his briefing about the two Michaels, those poor lads that have been stuck in a Chinese prison for the better part of 2.5 years almost. I think since December 2018. I guess they were apprehended by the Chinese authorities in retaliation to the Huawei executive that was arrested by Canadian authorities to be extradited to the United States. And yet when I look at the individual from Huawei, she's living a pretty decent life in Vancouver as far as we know. Monitored by the authorities, what have you. I think she has an ankle bracelet. She's monitored left and right by the powers that be, and they're not sending her to the States just as of yet. But in the meantime, we've got two individuals that were in China on business, that were apprehended, and now they're going on trial today, apparently. So we'll see how that works in the communist court, right? My opinion is this: let them go, China. Okay, what are you trying to prove? You want to start bullying people again? Yeah, because you know our government's full of wimps because they really don't give a shit. So as I say, the foolery continues, right? We have a government that's sitting around on their hands waiting for magical things to happen. And then also in recent news, too, that there's 1.5 million vaccines that Uncle Joe Biden is giving to Canada, which is great, okay? You know, I'm not a big vaccine supporter, but I'm not saying I'm an anti-vaxxer either, too. I believe in vaccines when it comes to stopping things like polio and dysentery and typhoid and all that good stuff. You know, the basic vaccines you get as a child, you know, tetanus, all that good shit. But the way they're plugging these vaccines and these mandates right now, it's sounding a lot like take this vaccine or else, and do this or else, do that or else. So regardless of who's stepping up the plate and making sure these vaccines are procured or not, obviously Canada is not doing a very good effing job when the Americans have to donate and hopefully get those 1.5 million vaccines back somewhere down the road. So it also goes to show, too, that our procurement process once again has failed the taxpayer at its finest, right? These are the same people that decide what kind of trucks and what kind of equipment the military uses. These are the same people that decide what kind of ships can patrol our waters in the name of the Coast Guard and the Royal Canadian Navy. These are the same people that decide what kind of federal equipment can be used when it comes to forest fires, when it comes to catastrophes and disasters. And I can tell you this right now, and a little bird told me this. Now, I don't have an actual reference to what he said to me personally. I didn't record the conversation, but a few moons ago, when I was working in a gun store, we had a customer come in, and I sold him an M14 well before the whole gun crisis was taking its ugly head. But we had a nice conversation about procurement, and ironically enough, he sat in the procurement board in the late 90s and early 2000s under the Chrétien and Paul Martin Liberals. And some of the stories he told me, wow, in regards to how many times they sit and look at blueprints and how they look at this piece of paper and that piece of paper. And at any given day, it's about a mass of 30 or 40 personnel earning anywhere from about $85,000 a year to $160,000 a year to sit in these boards, to scratch their balls, scratch their ass, and going, I wonder if it's Canadian enough to give to the general public, when they should be worrying about the longevity and the quality of the products they are purchasing in the name of the Canadian taxpayer. So that's why we have such a kerfuffle when it comes to shipbuilding. That's why we have such a kerfuffle when it comes to outkitting our troops properly. That's why we have such a kerfuffle when it comes to getting the Coast Guard up and ready to go to do its fucking job. Because we have all these boards, waiting for some magical fucking notional Jesus to turn their water into wine. Go figure. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, please subscribe, click the like, share this around, get the algorithm going. Please help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers. I'm trying to reach it effectively and honestly, too, without trying to pull any teeth or pull any fast ones. As I mentioned in my live stream there yesterday, I had a little topic about me going on OnlyFans and showing off my sexy, beautiful male knees there. Maybe I might make a few bucks doing that. But, you know, making money is up to you. My listeners, my fans alike, without you, this podcast would not be what it is today. So please keep liking, keep sharing, keep commenting, donating, all that good stuff.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And as for donations, too, I also pinned on my page, my Facebook page, too. I had a few people come out to the live stream yesterday and ask me where they could donate. They found it confusing. You know, I guess they didn't want to go to my website and click on the links there, but I pinned on my Facebook page, ladies and gentlemen. If you do want to donate, there is my PayPal. So if you want to donate there, $2, $5, or a consistent monthly donation, please consider. I like to make this a full-time commitment, but I need your help. I need viewers and listeners like yourself to get out there and help me along my way so I can promote and provide you with great contact points of view and hopefully some comedy in the future. So, and there's a poll I do have on my community page on YouTube and my page in Facebook too, asking, how would you like to donate if you wanted to, or would you like me to keep this free? So please consider answering that poll today. Anyway, again, moving on with the Foolery Continues. Yes, Prime Minister Trudeau was on the news this morning with his CPAC live coverage, his usual daily briefing on how the pandemic is this and vaccines, what have you. And I guess the anti-gun lobby is riding his butt because I guess Bill C-21 is just not effective enough for a handful of people. Now, I'm talking about the survivors of the Polytechnique massacre back in December of 1989. I remember watching that in the news, a terrible crime. And in no way, ladies and gentlemen, am I advocating gun violence or promoting gun violence when it comes to our citizens in this country. But I'd like to remind my listeners, too, and my followers and people who have just come across the podcast, that gun laws in Canada are still the strictest that I can think of when it comes to vetting. And I'll summarize it too. In order to become a gun owner in this country, you have to get a card. In order to get a card, you have to take a training course, whether it's for restricted or non-restricted. Restricted being pistols, semi-automatic rifles, non-restricted being bolt action, and some shotguns. And you have to pass the course. You have to maintain, I think, an 80% average to get this and pass it with flying colors. Then you have to register and wait and wait and wait. And then anywhere from 3 months to 7 months in some cases, like myself, yours truly, you get your card in the mail. That allows you to purchase said firearms, right? And contrary to the myth that the Liberals and the NDP have tried to promote in the House of Commons because of parliamentary privilege, they can make this shit up on the fly, they think you can just walk in any gun store in Canada and just buy what you want. Well, no. You have to show your card and you have to be qualified to have a restricted firearm or a non-restricted firearm or both, depending on what you're purchasing, right? And that goes for ammo, and that goes through powder, that goes through paraphernalia to make ammo, what have you, okay? You can walk into a gun store and buy, gun T-shirts and gun knives and paraphernalia, but you can't buy firearms of any sort without said card. Now, getting back to the point how this gun lobby is against Trudeau, and he's saying he's being too soft on guns in this country. Yet he promotes C21, yet C22 is softer on people who commit crimes with guns, especially the illegal guns, especially people that acquire illegal firearms, right? If you're a gangbanger, you got yourself a $2,000 pistol that you got off the street from Joe Blow, you commit a crime with that and you're caught with that, well, basically you get a slap on the wrist based on the old penalties of before, right? But they keep trying to promote this narrative that legal gun owners in this country are still fucking criminals, which is a fucking joke, which is an outright lie. Okay? And I suggest, ladies and gentlemen, you look at episode 6 of the CCFR radio show with Ron Gallagher there, the CEO of the CCFR. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to watch and follow. And just some of the revelations that he's come across, and some of the lame-ass excuses and the BS narrative that him and the people at CCFR have had to go through in order to keep us afloat. And I mean us afloat as registered and legally law-abiding gun owners in this country. Right? Makes you think, puts things in perspective too, on how leadership in this country has just gone right through the effing roof. Like I say, foolery continues. The foolery still continues.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to donate if you can. Anything will do. A monthly sum or what you can on a monthly basis. I mean, later on I'll have some prizes and incentives for all my dedicated fans out there. The more you donate, the better things get. Please help me reach my goal. And making this a full-time position, it takes listeners and fans like yourself. And without you guys, well, I wouldn't be doing this show. So thanks for the kind words of encouragement and support and the emails and the information that's been sent my way the past few days too, especially since my last episode. Thank you out there, those individuals. And thank you to the last person that donated $30. Well done, sir. I think his name is Justin Muir. Sorry, I don't have your permission to mention your name. I didn't mean to affect your privacy, but thank you very much, Justin. Much appreciated. Anyway, carrying on again with the foolery continues. Yes. And I guess national defense chain of command is in a world of shit, too. That's been in the news past couple of days as well. Miss Eleanor Taylor, Lieutenant Colonel Taylor, I remember her in battalion many moons ago as a young lieutenant and a captain who kicked ass and took names and who did things by the book properly and fairly. And she was an outstanding officer to those men and women in Bravo Company, 1 RCR. Hoo-ah. So a shout out there to you lads. And I do remember working with her briefly. I remember having a couple of idle conversations with her, but she carried a presence that was just phenomenal. A well-educated, an altogether human being. And, she's achieved a hell of a lot in her career. And not because she's a female, because she had the can-do attitude and she had what it took to get the job done. And now she's going public. She's leaving the service because of what she has witnessed as an officer and as a senior officer too. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. I would have killed to be a fly on the wall in some of these situations as you mentioned, but I'll leave a link from Global TV about her work too and what she has gone through. And it's a sad fucking state of affairs too, because our defense minister, Mr. Harjit Sajjan, Mr. Know-it-all himself, Mr. fucking here I am, I coordinated the whole Medusa thing, and my shit don't stink, and look at me, I'm a perfect example of what the military should be, and and it's a crime to brag about whiteness and all that BS that he's promoted the past 5 years. Now, apparently, according to the CF ombudsman, they made a point of telling the defense minister this is what's going on, and the defense minister sat on the information for the better part of 3 fucking years and did nothing at all. Right? So here are these clowns that are supposed to run national defense, make sure everything's good to go. And regardless of how top-heavy things are, as far as I'm concerned, you're in uniform for this country. You are a subject of Canadian policy. You are a subject of defending this country. And you are still under military law and civilian law, respectively. And I don't care if you're a general or I don't care if you're a buck private. You commit a heinous crime, such as sexual harassment, or being inappropriate, I personally believe you deserve everything that's coming to you, regardless if you had op honor or talk about diversity, whatever. And don't give me this whole crap about membership having its privileges. We've all seen that dynamic, and it went to shit. Anyway, here's a word from my sponsors.
In October of 2015, Lindsay Robbins, like many of her fellow Canadians, was struggling with the turmoil of mental illness. The ups and downs of what she was going through was shaping her realities, and she longed for structure. As luck would have it, that structure presented itself to her in the form of gardening. And through gardening, Lindsay had an awakening that led her to create Produce for Heroes. Lindsay realized that our veterans were going through their own mental struggles, and through her own experience, she realized the power of community. By desiring to help the way that she had been helped, she has created a program that provides relief to veterans. Her food program, which aims to provide veterans and their families relief from the stresses of food insecurity and help alleviate the cost of living for those that have sacrificed so much for their country. Whether it's through directly contacting Produce for Heroes or through a friend's referral, all veterans and their families living in Canada are welcome. By shining a light on the struggle of veterans and their families, Lindsay is hoping to get her fellow Canadians to hop on board and support Produce for Heroes and our great veterans. If you or a veteran you know needs help, ProduceForHeroes.com is a great place to start.
This is Brian Boucher, the new CEO of Canuck Gold Corp. We have gold at 99% purity with discounts ranging from $100 up to $200 off the ounce. This is the right place to buy, from 2-gram cards to 400-ounce bricks. We have any quantity of gold you are looking for. We also sell by the ton, not like your ex-wife. Visit us today at canudgold.com, C-A-N-U-N-D gold.com.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.
Yeah, that's right. You can reach Brian and Scott at canudgold.com and Lindsay at Produce for Heroes on my sponsorship heading in the description. Please check them out. They have a lot to offer and say, and they are Canadian-based companies too. So wave the maple leaf and do it your part. Anyway, carrying on with more of the Foolery Continues with this BS. Now, like I said in my last episode in regards to how Justin Trudeau is putting together a factory to help people make batteries and make everything green, 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 and they're saving the planet in progress, okay? Effective April 1st of this year, according to Buffalo Tribune News, another 33% of our dollar or purchases are going to go to more fucking carbon tax. Well, isn't that just fantastic, ladies and gentlemen, hey? People are losing their jobs. People are told to stay home. People are told not to social. People are told to social distance. People are told not to go here or to buy this. And there's still places in this country where they have what you can buy essential, what is deemed not essential, right? And yet these government officials want to increase another effing tax. So there is speculation of an election coming up too. So not only the Liberals trying to win points and win favor with their voting base, i.e. the majority of people in Ontario and Les Belles Provinces, they're encouraging their tax too. Okay? Hi. What's next too? Right? So basically 2 taxes for carbon, the GST, PST, or harmonized sales tax, and it just gets ridiculous. And what do we have to show for it, ladies and gentlemen? What is being showed for it? Okay, there are lots of politicians out there still lining their pockets, like Mr. Harjit Sajjan, sitting on his hands and waiting for ultimatums because he didn't know what was going on. Oh, he doesn't want to ruin anyone's career. Oh, he doesn't want to expose the vulnerable in said case. Well, rightfully so. But in the same sense, you're dealing with a handful of individuals that did something really fucking stupid. And you're afraid to fucking act upon it. Typical, eh? Just like the so-called foreign affairs ministers who are afraid to tell China where to fucking go. Well, and not to mention some of the public servants that are afraid to tell these politicians where to fucking go when they make these stupid decisions. So, end the lockdowns, open up the stores, get the economy going again. And don't give me this crap about the whole respiratory infection rate. Bullshit. You're basing it on hearsay and you're basing it on models that have failed. It goes up there with the climate models, too, that say the polar bears are going to die in so many years. And yet polar bears are thriving pretty well, right? So take the whole Al Gore fucking model and the speculation model and smart the hell up, folks. We're going to start taking a stand against this bullshit, okay? So regardless of how the world is being faced with these dilemmas right now, we got to stop worrying about the world and start worrying about Canada. You know, land of the free, the maple syrup, you know, our home and native land. Why is that so hard? Okay, we got to stop paying attention to these kids and these so-called know-it-alls who call Canada nothing but a colony, And we're colonials. Yet these kids forget, too, it's because of the old colonial-based model that they get the education and get the perks that they have today. They forget that, don't they? So let's remind these little pukes about that fucking mandate, right? And let's also remind some of the people that bitch about the past that you got to start living in the now. Like I confessed to you before, I have issues with PTSD. And there are things in my past I'm not proud of. And there are things in my past that I am proud of. But in order for me to move on and do things that I want to do, I try to be a good husband to my wife, try to be a good little Canadian, good little patriot, and maybe get back in the leadership game again, i.e. with politics and the VCP party. I got to let the past go and learn from it and move forward. A proper moving forward. Not just this speculation that was given to us by the fucking liberal red bullshit. Charge forward, changing forward. I'm not going to rip people off, take their fucking money, and go into debt because I can't balance a checkbook. Right? We got to see that example again in our politics, ladies and gentlemen. But we don't see enough of that. We don't see even the opposition taking a good stand. The only people I can really think of is Pierre Poilievre when he's doing with the we issue, putting the killbiggers on their toes. Right on, sir. Well done. And the odd politicians standing up in Parliament. I would love to see a guy or a gal stand up and say to the Liberals, go fuck your hat. Hell, I'd do that in a heartbeat. Honestly. Tell me what you think, folks. Tell me what you think.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And as I say again, ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to donate, I have pinned my PayPal link in my Facebook page too, and I'll repin it there on my description page. So if you do want to donate and give me a monthly a treasure or just a lump sum, by all means, please, because without you, my listeners, this podcast wouldn't work. And I'm ever so thankful that I have such a great audience turnout when I do my live streams and my listening base too. So please consider donating today. Carrying on again with more of the Foolery Continues. It's getting really hard to really trust what anybody has to say anymore in regards to this pandemic. Right? We Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, was sitting there praising the Americans for handing over 1.5 million doses, quote unquote, borrowing them. But it just goes to show the Procurement Board is working in this country. Are they working for the interests of Canadians or working for the interests of the party? And it seems like every time we turn around, every time there's some kind of minister or some kind of official, they're working for the interest of the party or the little conglomerate or the little group. They're not working for the interest of the people in their riding or in Canada as a whole. And I would definitely say the past 5 years has proven that. When it comes to defense spending, when it comes to looking after national defense, when it comes to looking after our veterans, when it comes to looking after our seniors, when it comes to looking after clean water for our First Nations and the rest of Canada alike. As far as I'm concerned, First Nations are Canadian. And I'm glad to call any of them brother and sister. I'm glad to call anybody in this country brother and sister. Because like I mentioned numerous times before, I was not raised with a racialized idea. People are people. I don't call a person from Jamaica a person of color. I'll call him a Jamaican. I'll call him or her, whatever. I'll call them men or women. I don't care. I'm not saying I'm colorblind, but I'm saying a little more fucking realistic. And it's really, really rich how these politicians talk about unity and let's not divide and let's work together. And yet, what kind of unity are they promoting? What kind of working together scheme are they promoting? Telling people where they can shop, where they can't shop, right? Telling people what they can do, how they can't do it. And that's just not the liberal model, too. There's a lot of conservative politicians who have out there done the same, too. Mr. O'Toole, why did you hire a Huawei executive? Huh? Something to think about. And I know today the virtual conservative convention is going on. So I'd be wondering, what kind of ideas are going to come out of those guys now, in case there is a federal election looming. I'm pretty sure there is. And I promoted it because we need a change, ladies and gentlemen. We need a big effing change. More than you think.
Join the Liberal Party of Canada. We'll tell you what to think, what to do, how to wipe, how to pick your nose, all in the name of safety.
Yes, I had a few fans who liked that little blurb I put up there. But yeah, I throw it up there just to remind people, too, some of the garbage that has come out of these individuals' faces. Everything from Stephen Colbert and his censorship of the internet to Catherine McKenna stomping your feet, saying the magical words, well, if you say it loud enough, people in Parliament are going to believe it. You know, that's one thing she's learned about being a parliamentarian. Not about being a leader, not about making real change and helping people out. Just stomp your feet and say it loud enough, people are going to believe it. Well, I've stomped my feet and I've said it loud enough numerous times, and a lot of people just don't listen, except my listeners and some family friends and some dear people in my life. But I'm saying it loud too. You know, Justin Trudeau talking about division in this country. One of his campaign speeches was, we have to work together and not rely on fear to divide us. And yet, how much fear has he promoted? Right? You question his ability on anything, you're either deemed a racist or a bigot or a misogynist, right? Calls himself a feminist, yet he was the biggest fucking playboy in the Trudeau family next to his old man, right? So which is it? Well, Miss Freeland, in her infinite wisdom, because of her background in business journalism, all of a sudden she's an expert on fucking guns and what they can do to people, right? I really don't think she's ever actually held a gun. I don't give a fuck if she's from Northern Alberta or not. She's full of crap. Bill Blair, well, there's another guy too, obviously towing the party line, has no fucking idea where he's coming or going, can't tell his elbow from his asshole, but of course he's quite concerned about guns being used for other things than just for sport shooting. They're meant for killing en masse quickly and efficiently. Yet he forgets too that in Canada you cannot have any more than 5 rounds in a magazine, right? And every time you buy a magazine for whatever variant, it doesn't matter if it's AR or M14 variant, okay, those magazines are either capped or they're pinned at 5. And if you are caught altering that, you know, not only does your gun get confiscated, you're also charged, and your card is taken away, and you'll never own a firearm in this country again. So there again, what was my point in regards to parliamentary privilege, to say what you want in Parliament just to get what you want, like a snotty little fucking kid. Oh, yes, of course. Right? So we're going to start being real again, folks, regardless of where you sit on the political fence, where you sit in religion. Now we're having a lot of religious leaders being persecuted and tossed into jail. Like Pastor James in Edmonton, who spent the better part of a month in jail. For what? Because he defied a health restriction? He defied a suggestion. It didn't become law. He just pissed some police officers off. But he stood his ground. And well done on you, sir. But the fight is just continuing. The fight has to keep going on. We got to see light at the end of this tunnel.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Yes, once again, ladies and gentlemen, please consider donating. I have pinned my donation page on my Facebook, and I'll also pin it here on my description on the YouTube. And please share this around. If you like and hear what you see, please share. Give me a thumbs up. Keep the algorithm going. Help us independent folk get the word out there so everyone can have a chance to listen and make up their own mind, as we all should. Critical thinking, to me, is part of life. You know, critical thought is a part of life. Free speech is paramount. Freedom of association is paramount. Freedom of assembly is paramount, right? Freedom to own a gun, freedom to own a car, freedom to do your own thing, freedom to mind your own business, all that good stuff. I think it's paramount. Which brings me to this episode's Canadian polar vortex of bullshit, right? I had quite the feedback on that the other day in regards to that. And I'm going to make this a mainstay in every Crusty Canuck episode. I will award some leader, some group, some conglomerate, some writer, or just some stupid person who does something so stupid that they deserve an award. Kind of like the Bill Engvall joke, right? Here's your prize. Well, this is my version. So, after consideration the past 24 hours and some real deep thought and connecting with myself and trying to really understand the bigger picture, this episode's award of the Canadian polar vortex of bullshit will be
The Canadian polar vortex of bullshit
goes to the Procurement Board of Canada and all of its leaders. Anita Arnand and her staff and everybody who sat around trying to figure out what to fucking do. and still never came up with a concrete plan on how to do it. So the award goes to the Canadian Procurement Board and its leaders. This has been
the Canadian Polar Vortex of Bullshit.
And stay tuned for my next episode for another exciting award to whatever individual, group, or conglomerate that just really can't grasp reality. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, as I say, the foolery continues. It seems like every day there's something in the news. Like I said, the Kilberger brothers being on trial. Too much cigarettes. Can't give a concrete answer, and it's good to see that there's still men and women in Parliament that are taking the stance against the corruption and the bullshit. So hats off to Mr. Pierre Poilievre for your excellent stance on the most recent display of power that you have to get the truth of these individuals. And hats off to Candace Bergen for standing up for the right thing, and Miss Rempel, the odd time for your comments. Where I sit in the fence still is, I don't know about the Conservatives as much as a few politicians I do admire and respect there, but I can honestly say the past year the Conservative brand has gone down the toilet in regards to lack of action rather than just action itself too. So something to think about if they do call an election, ladies and gentlemen, which brings me to the point of the Veterans Coalition Party. Now, every so often I've been plugging that, but I'm going to ask my Canadian listeners out there, and my American listeners too, by all means, please inquire. The Veterans Coalition Party is made up of amazing individuals, all colors, all creeds, right? Some were conservative, some were liberal, some were NDP, some were libertarian. Some were people at one time that didn't really care about politics, but they look at the lackluster performances of all parties the past 5 to 6 years, and a lot of men and women are throwing their hat in the ring to get out there and join the good fight and trying to win a seat in Parliament so we can represent our constituents and people properly and effectively and be accountable. Truth, duty, honor, and integrity, Simple things. A lot of stuff we learned in the military, and yet it's veteran-based, but we welcome all. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Veterans Coalition Party, i.e. because it's a coalition. You can be an ex-police officer, you can be an ambulance driver, you can be a laborer, a construction worker. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're from. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you love being in Canada and love Canada and love being a Canadian, and you get sick and tired of the BS rhetoric and the name calling and the fear calling, and the fear mongering too, join the Veterans Coalition Party. I'm taking charge of the riding here, the Crowfoot Battle River riding. So I'll leave links in the description too if you want to follow me there as well. But please keep in mind, if they do call an election, check out the VCP. We got a lot to offer and a lot to say, ladies and gentlemen. We try not to be blue. We try not to be red. We try to be real. And if we stand for something, it's usually the Canadian red, not the Chinese red or the Russian red, but the Canadian red. Red of our fallen, red of our brethren, red of our ancestors, all ancestors alike. Doesn't matter if it's First Nations, white, European, it doesn't matter. All of our ancestors contributed heavily to this country. All of us did. All colors, all creeds. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Like I say, the tomfoolery continues. I shake my head always when I listen to these guys, and I'm just like, oh, what else do I do? Anyway, thanks again to those individuals that came out to my live stream there on Thursday or last night. Thank you all for the warm comments, and thank you again, Tammy and Tiffany, for your great insight and your stance on democracy in this country. You've got a friend with the Crusty Canuck podcast, and we'll try to maybe arrange another guest spot, which brings me to, on the 24th, there will be a special Crusty Canuck Thursday fastball. It'll be on a Wednesday, but my guest will be, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Theon Fleury. Yes, NHL great, survivor of sexual assault, and all-around volunteer. He does lectures. He does great things for people. He assists people. Not only was he an NHL great and gold medal winner in 2002, but he's an advocate, and he stands up straight and fights against sexual abuse. So he'll be my guest Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. So to those individuals that have to work that day, my apologies. But the show will be on replay on YouTube. But I say again, my guest it'll be a Wednesday edition of the Thursday Fastball with Crusty Canuck, and my guest will be none other than Theon Fleury, NHL great, sexual assault survivor, and all-around decent human being. So pay attention to my community page for updates on that too. It'll be on live stream via Facebook and YouTube, so tune into that. And if you have any questions for Mr. Fleury or myself, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm sure Mr. Fleury has lots of information out there for all of us. So let's tune into that there Wednesday on the 24th. Mark that in your calendars right now, 9 a.m. in the morning. I'll have a great conversation with Mr. Theo Fleury. We'll ask about his background, what got him into hockey, how he overcome a lot of obstacles, and what really inspires him to do the work he does today. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. 24th, 9 a.m. in the morning. Anyhow, this has been another podcast for the 19th of March, 2021. I, your host, Crusty Canuck. I will thank you again to all my listeners and subscribers out there. Please keep listening, subscribing, share this around. Help me reach 10,000 subscribers. That way it's going to help me make a few extra bucks. I can advertise my kit, my store, all that good stuff. And if you do like and hear what you see, by all means, like I say, click like, subscribe, share this around. Do what you can. Now, weather's getting better. Sun's coming out, so I'm going to start thinking about some gardening and all that good stuff. Going to start growing some more vegetables. Hopefully my potato crop will do better this year than it did last year. Bloody neighborhood cats. Anyhow, but like, do what you can to help your neighbors out. Do what you can to help each other out. I know sun's out, but let's stand what's right. Stand our ground, ladies and gentlemen. Let's question these authorities. No more of this status quo fear-mongering BS. It's time to stand up for our democracy. Like I say, harass your politicians again. Call them, send them emails, write them letters. Letter after letter, call, leave messages. Hello, what's going on? Please let us know. Because it's a responsibility as members and representatives of your constituents. That's their job as leaders of the riding. Ask them the tough questions. Get them out there. Make them talk. If they feel uncomfortable, too fucking bad. Whoever said taking a job is supposed to be comfortable? You want comfort, then lay on the sofa all goddamn day and feel sorry for yourself. I won't. Like I say, folks, look after your friends and loved ones. Do what you can to help each other out in these troubling times. And remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Oh, yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.